What's going on, y'all? Thanks for checking in the Khaliis Take. You know what to do. Hit that like, subscribe button. Also hit that notification bell just so you can get the newest and the bonus content first. But hey, let's just go ahead and jump right in. You know, the Lakers season really just went from bad to worse. You look at this team and the way they're constructed and everything and how everything is playing out for them. You just have to wonder, like, what else can go wrong in this season? There are less than 10 games left in the season, and they have lost a lot of games this season where they could have won, and they had a lot of miscues this season where they actually can look back on and say if they would have made, a difference here and there would have been differences in certain games and would have been a different outcome in the season so far. Even though you could say that for any and every team that you look at, but the Lakers' miscues seem to stick out like a sore thumb the most amongst any other team in the NBA because you got all this superstar power. You got good role players. You got a decent coach, I would say, in Frankie V. He's won a championship with the Lakers, and he was a good coach on Indiana, a long time ago. And, you got the Lakers organization, which is supposed to be enough, to win it, to at least win, maybe not win it all, but at least to win more than what they have been winning. And they just haven't been doing that. And their Achilles heel is their defense. And I'll say it again, as long as the Lakers are playing, this year against any team they play against, they really shouldn't be favored against anybody, because no matter how hard the opponent is, or it doesn't matter how young the team is, the Lakers shouldn't be favored against anybody in any game the rest of the season. Because after yesterday's game against the Pelicans, where you were up by 20 or 23 points, somewhere in there, I think it was 23 actually, and you found a way to let them come back and beat you when you really had all the momentum going your way in a big game that has a lot of playoff implications. You allow yourself to lose a game like this on LeBron James' watch while he's scoring 39 points, I believe, and you still found a way to lose. Now, granted, he did have some help. Malik Monk had like 23. Russell Westbrook had 18. Not too bad. But, turnovers, defense. I'm not even going to say turnovers. Forget the turnovers at this point. They've had turnovers a lot of games, things like that. The defense really is their biggest problem. And I say it over and over again because it's just absolutely true. They cannot stop anybody. They can't get a stop when they need to. This team, the Pelicans really had no business winning this game. They really didn't. And like I said, a game that has playoff implications, you got to find a way to step out of that game with a victory, especially if LeBron gives you 40 points, basically. It's just no way. There's no reason to lose a game like that. McCollum didn't even have the greatest of games himself. I think he had like 18, something like that. Brandon Ingram had a really good game, and other players chipped in. And like I said, they chipped away on the lead little by little. And at one time the score was 49-35. When I looked at the Lakers, they were up by 14. They cut it down a little bit. I was like, okay, well, maybe the Lakers can actually, make a push and keep things going. But the Lakers just do what they usually do, which is, when a team starts creeping back into a game and the game gets kind of close, the Lakers start panicking. Their defense lets up even more. They take their foot off the gas offensively, and they settle for a lot of threes and a lot of jumpers and things like that when they're up on teams, and which is a bad thing for them because, like I said, when your three and your jumper isn't falling, you got to find ways to get wins in other ways. You can't just allow yourself to lose a game like that when you have all the momentum on your side and its playoff implications. You got to find a way to pull a game like that out, and they didn't. So it's like now going forward, Anthony Davis might come back here soon, but there again, rhythm, timing is everything. Where's his rhythm? Where's his timing right now? It's off because he hasn't played in a while. And like I said, he might come back, but it doesn't mean he's going to be the savior, the end all be all for the Clippers, because the Lakers. It doesn't mean he's going to be the end all be all for the Lakers because like I said, he's dealing with injuries himself, and he's a very injury prone player. He's very unreliable. So you can't rely on somebody who's unreliable. It just doesn't make any sense. So, I mean, him coming back is not going to make everything but so much different. And like I said, if they don't get him back within the next 2 to 5, I say 3 to 5 games, they might be too far out of contention to even make the play-in tournament. Because if you look at it, the Spurs are like a half a game or like one game behind the Lakers for that final spot for the play-in, and the Spurs got the tiebreaker. So if both the Lakers and the Spurs had the same identical record at the end, the Spurs would actually get in the play-in tournament and the Lakers wouldn't, simply because the Spurs had the tiebreaker over them. So it's like, the Lakers are in really, really bad. They're in a real bad situation right now. Real bad situation. So, when you look at that and you analyze that, I mean, it looks really bad. It doesn't look good on the Lakers' behalf. And, right now, I don't know, you can point fingers at this person, that person, that person, but it's not all Russell Westbrook's fault. It's not all LeBron's fault. It's just the whole team's fault. Everybody is at fault right now, because when you're not winning as a team. When you are winning, you're winning as a team. It's not just one guy. One guy can take up a lot. One guy can put a lot on his back, but it's still a team game at the end of the day. And, they're losing as a team, so it's everybody's fault on the Lakers. The role players should play better. Russell Westbrook should play better. LeBron can't play much better, but, honestly, Frankie V should coach better. Anthony Davis needs to stay healthy. A lot needs to go right for this team, for them to be a good team, because they got a bunch of older players. And with that being said, when you have a bunch of older players, you have got to find ways to get wins against mediocre teams to keep yourself afloat, so you can build that continuity. But they're not able to do that because, like I said, the continuity that they're building really is on one end of the floor. They can score. They have moments where they're in games where they can, outscore a team and play good offensively at times, but the defense is so horrid, it doesn't balance out. If their defense was average, they would win a lot more games than they lose, because their defense is good enough to make stops at times when the other team is going on a run. But their defense isn't that good. Their defense is just the opposite. When other team really figures out, well, we can get anything we want offensively because they can't stop us. Going to the paint, they can't stop us. At any point, we get wide open threes, we get anything we want offensively. Let's just go to the paint, drive in, try to get some people in foul trouble, get some easy baskets, and then the other baskets will start going in. Sometimes when you get a few layups, sometimes that, you make a few shots, sometimes the three ball starts to fall. And then once that happens, the Lakers are in trouble, because the opposite team gets the confidence where it's like, okay, we could do what we want on offense. I don't know what we waiting for. I don't know why we were settling for all threes. Let's just drive into the paint, put some pressure on them, and then once we put the pressure on them, make them change up their defensive scheme, then we'll take wide open threes as they come during the game. And that's exactly what the Pelicans did. That's exactly what a lot of teams did against the Lakers this year, whether Anthony Davis was on the floor, whether all three of them were on the floor, whether 2 out of 3 was on the floor. It didn't really matter. They've lost games throughout the whole season with all 3 of them on the floor. So one guy isn't going to make so much of a difference when their defense isn't any good. So this is what I'm saying. The Lakers are who their record is. Their record is, a losing record, and that's what they are. They're not a good team. And a lot of people try to anoint them and put them in a stature where, oh, if they get Anthony Davis back, they'll be so much better. Oh, well, here the Lakers come. They won one game against Utah like about 2 weeks ago. Oh, the Lakers are coming for it now. And ever since then, they've been predominantly on a losing streak, and it's looked like the same thing as looked the whole season. They look like a bad team. And really now it's getting worse because, like I said, yesterday's loss to the Pelicans really, speaks on, how bad of a team they are and how much chemistry they don't have, because they can't find ways to get stops when they need it. And they can't find ways to, close games the way they should. So it's like when you have those two things working, when those two things are on your plate, you don't have a lot of good working in your favor when you're living life like that. You can't make stops on defense when you need to, and you don't really have nobody to close out games the way you should. You can't close games as a team. Those are two bad combinations to have. And this is the reason why I say the younger teams give the Lakers problems as well, because they can move faster. They're younger, they're more mobile, they're quick off the first step, whereas the Lakers players aren't. All of them are older, don't have a quick first step the way they used to, and they're just outmatched by young teams. And then when they play veteran teams, well, they lose to them definitely because they got more veterans. They play more organized basketball. They play more structured, whereas the Lakers play unstructured basketball. And, one of their star players can't shoot, which is Russell Westbrook. So it makes him a liability on the floor 90% of the time, because he's not really somebody that LeBron can use. LeBron is used to having shooters around where he can dish the rock and get to the paint when he wants to. But with Russell Westbrook, it's hard to do that because you don't trust his jump shot at all. You just feel like he's not going to make the right plays or the big shot when you need him to. So it's really a bad situation for the Lakers all the way around. But if they don't make the play-in tournament, this has got to be the worst team in NBA history if they don't do that, because the play-in tournament is almost like a second opportunity to make the playoffs. And it never used to be that way. So if you don't even make the play-in tournament, which is basically giving you a second opportunity to make the playoffs, you've got to be the worst LA team ever assembled. No other way to look at it, especially with the talent you have on your team. You got a big three and you can't even make a play-in tournament. Even having 2 out of 3 stars, you still should be able to make the play-in tournament. But it just goes to show how bad the Lakers are and how their seasons definitely went from bad to worse, and how it seems to be getting worse by the moment. And when you just when you think they couldn't lose in another form or fashion, no worse than what they did before, they find ways to keep doing it, to lose in a worse fashion. I just don't understand. And I don't think the rest of the NBA world does either, along with Laker Nation. So with that being said, whatever happens for the Lakers, we'll have to see. But if they don't make the play-in tournament, I know a lot of people would be overly shocked, overly surprised. But at this point, it wouldn't surprise me, because I just don't know what to expect from this team. Or should I say I do know what to expect from this team, which is not much and a bunch of losing. And it seems like it's just in their future, and it doesn't seem like it's going to get any better anytime soon. But hey, that's my take on everything. You leave any comments in the comment section as always. And hey, Khaliis out.